Dr. Ryan Mitchell had seen everything in his 20 years as a children's doctor. Crying babies, scared kids, worried parents. He thought he'd handled it all. But nothing could have prepared him for the phone call that came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. "Morning, Dr. Mitchell. We need you at the mountain facility immediately. It's classified, but we have a situation with a child that, well, nobody can figure out what's wrong." Ryan rubbed his tired eyes and looked at his alarm clock. "Can it wait until morning? I'm sure one of the other doctors can help." "Sir, with respect, you're the only pediatric specialist who also understands child psychology. We've tried everything. The child won't stop crying, and it's affecting our equipment somehow. We need you here now." Something in the caller's voice made Ryan grab his keys. He'd never heard a government official sound so desperate before. The drive to the mountain facility took 2 hours through winding roads he'd never traveled. When he finally arrived, the sight took his breath away. Military vehicles surrounded a building that looked more like a fortress than a medical center inside. The hallways buzzed with activity. Scientists in white coats hurried past, their faces showing a mixture of excitement and worry. Ryan had worked with government facilities before, but this felt different. There was an energy in the air that made his skin tingle. "Dr. Mitchell, thank goodness you're here." A woman in a military uniform approached him. "I'm Colonel Davis. We have a situation that requires your expertise." "What kind of situation exactly?" Colonel Davis hesitated. "It's better if you see for yourself, but I need you to sign this first." She handed him a thick stack of papers. "Everything you see here is classified at the highest level." Ryan quickly signed the documents, his curiosity getting the better of him. They walked through several security checkpoints before reaching a heavy metal door. "Before we go in," Colonel Davis said, "I need you to understand that what you're about to see will challenge everything you believe about the world." The door opened, and Ryan stepped into a room that looked like a combination of a hospital and a laboratory. But it was the occupants that made him freeze in place. On a medical bed lay a woman unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin had a soft, pearl-like glow that seemed to come from within. Her hair was silver white and seemed to move gently, even though there was no breeze in the room. Her eyes, when they briefly opened, were the deepest blue he'd ever seen, like looking into the ocean on a clear day. But it was the sound that hit him first, crying that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It wasn't just noise, it was emotion made audible. Ryan felt sadness, fear, and longing wash over him just from hearing it. "She crashed 3 days ago," Colonel Davis explained quietly. "Her ship came down in the mountains. We found her unconscious, holding the baby. The strange thing is, our equipment starts acting up whenever the child cries. Computers glitch, lights flicker, and everyone in the room starts feeling ... emotional." Ryan looked around and saw the baby for the first time. It was small, maybe 6 months old, with the same glowing skin as the woman, but softer, more human-like features. The child's cries were breaking his heart, but there was something else, a feeling that this baby needed him specifically. "Have you tried the usual methods? Feeding, changing, holding?"
Thing.
Multiple doctors, nurses, even brought in a specialist from the children's hospital downtown. Nothing works. The moment anyone picks up the baby, it cries harder. But here's the interesting part. When you walked in, the crying got quieter. Ryan looked at the baby again. It was true. The desperate wailing had softened 2 gentle whimpers. Without thinking, he stepped closer to the bed. The woman's eyes suddenly opened, and she looked directly at him. When she spoke, her voice was like music, but the words were clearly struggling to form in English. Double quotes. "Please, ... my child." Each word seemed to take great effort. She, ... needs someone who understands. Ryan felt drawn to the baby like a magnet. "May I?" asked the woman. She nodded weakly, and Ryan gently lifted the small child into his arms. The moment he did, something magical happened. The crying stopped completely. The baby looked up at him with eyes that seemed far too wise for someone so young, and Ryan felt a connection he couldn't explain. "How did you do that?" Colonel Davis whispered in amazement. "I don't know," Ryan admitted. I think this little one just needed someone who cared. He began to hum a simple lullaby his grandmother had taught him years ago. The baby's eyes grew heavy, and for the first time in 3 days, she fell asleep. The woman on the bed smiled weakly. "Thank you," she whispered. I knew you would come." "Who are you?" Ryan asked gently, still holding the sleeping baby. "I am ... Zara. This is my daughter Kira. We came very far to find safety." Ryan looked at the baby in his arms. Kira had the most peaceful expression he'd ever seen on a child's face. Whatever had been troubling her seemed to have melted away the moment he held her. "Dr. Mitchell. Colonel." Davis said, "We need to talk. There's much more to this story than you realize." As Ryan looked from the sleeping baby to the mysterious woman named Zara, he realized his life had just taken a turn into something extraordinary. The woman's eyes held secrets of worlds he'd never imagined, and the baby in his arms felt like the most important patient he'd ever treated. "Whatever you need me to do," Ryan said quietly, "I'm here to help." Zara smiled, and for a moment the glow around her seemed to brighten. "I hoped you would say that. There is so much I need to tell you, but first my daughter needs to trust you completely, and I think she already does." The room fell silent except for the soft breathing of the sleeping baby. Ryan knew that nothing would ever be the same again, but as he looked down at little Kira's peaceful face, he realized he wouldn't want it any other way. Outside, the mountain facility hummed with activity as scientists and military personnel tried to understand what had just happened. But in that quiet room, a connection had been formed that would change not just 3 lives, but the future of 2 worlds. 3 weeks had passed since Ryan first held baby Kira, and his life had completely turned upside down. Every morning, he drove to the mountain facility, spending hours with the mysterious woman and her child. Zara was getting stronger each day, and their conversations were becoming more detailed and shocking. "You want to know the truth, don't you?" Zara asked one afternoon, as Ryan fed Kira her bottle. The baby had grown comfortable with him, reaching for his face with her tiny hands. "Whenever he entered the room, I've been wondering about it for weeks," Ryan admitted. "The way you both glow, the way electronics act strange around Kira, the fact that no one else can calm her down." "You're not from here, are you?" Zara smiled, and when she did, her whole face seemed to light up from within. "You're very perceptive." "Dr. Mitchell, no, we're not from Earth. We're from a place very far away, beyond the stars you see at night." Ryan had suspected this, but hearing it out loud still made his heart race. "How far?" "What you would call ... many light years. People. The Stella Ryans have been watching your planet for a long time. We've been curious about humans, about your capacity for love and creativity." As Zara spoke, she gestured toward the window. Suddenly Ryan could see images forming in the air like a hologram. Beautiful cities floating among the clouds. People with the same gentle glow as Zara, and technology that looked like art. "This is incredible," Ryan whispered, still holding Kira, who was reaching toward the floating images. "But why are you here? Why did you crash?" Zara's expression grew serious. "Because of her," she said, looking at her daughter. "Kira is special, even by our standards. Her father, he was human." Ryan nearly dropped the bottle. "Human? But how?" "5 years ago, one of your astronauts got lost in space. His ship malfunctioned, and he drifted far from Earth. We found him, brought him to our world to save his life. His name was Commander David Chen, and he was ... remarkable." Ryan listened carefully as Zara explained how David had lived among her people for 2 years. He learned their language, their customs, and eventually he and Zara fell in love. But their relationship was controversial among the Stellarians. "Many of my people believed that mixing with humans would weaken us," Zara continued. "But David showed us that humans have something we lack, the ability to love without limits." When Kira was born, she became a bridge between our worlds. "What happened to David?" Ryan asked gently. Zara's eyes filled with tears that sparkled like diamonds. "He volunteered to return to Earth to prepare for peaceful contact between our peoples. But his ship was attacked by those who opposed our union. We We don't know if he survived. Ryan felt a deep sadness wash over him. He looked down at Kira, who was playing with his fingers. So she's half human, half Stellarian? Yes, and that makes her incredibly powerful, but also emotionally unstable. She needs someone who understands both worlds, the logic of my people, and the heart of yours. Is that why she responds to me? Zara nodded. You have a gift, Ryan. You see beyond the surface of things. When you hold her, you don't see an alien baby. You see a child who needs love and understanding. It's exactly what she needs to grow up balanced. Ryan was quiet for a moment, processing everything. But you said you crashed. Why? Because not everyone in my world agrees with peaceful contact. My brother, Prince Vex, leads a faction that believes humans are too primitive for alliance. When he learned about Kira, he tried to have us both eliminated. Your brother? Ryan was shocked. But you're... I'm Queen Zara of the Stellarian Empire, she said simply. I rule over billions of people across multiple worlds. But even queens sometimes have to run to protect their children. Gosh. The woman he'd been talking to casually for weeks was royalty of an alien empire. You're a queen? I was. Right now, I'm just a mother trying to keep her daughter safe. Zara moved closer to him, but I could be a queen again with the right person beside me. What do you mean? Zara reached out and touched his hand. The moment she did, Ryan felt a warm energy flow through him. His old knee injury from college football suddenly stopped hurting. I mean that I need someone to help me raise Kira. Is Kira someone who can teach her about her human side while I teach her about her Stellarian heritage? I need someone who can help me unite our peoples and bring peace to both worlds. Her, then at baby Kira, who is now falling asleep in his arms. You're asking me to... I'm asking you to be my partner, my equal. In your terms, I'm asking you to marry me and help me rule. Together, we can give Kira the family she needs and build a future where humans and Stellarians can live in harmony. Felt overwhelmed, Zara. I'm just a doctor. I don't know anything about ruling empires or space politics, but you know about healing, about caring for others, about bringing peace to troubled hearts. Look at what you've done for Kira. In 3 weeks, you've given her more stability than anyone else could in years. To prove her point, Zara showed him more images in the air, fleets of beautiful ships, councils of wise leaders, and most importantly, other children like Kira who were struggling without proper guidance. There are others like her? Ryan asked. Yes. The connection between our worlds has created several hybrid children. They all need someone who understands both cultures. They need someone like you. Ryan looked around the room, thinking about his quiet life as a pediatrician, his small apartment, his routine existence. Then he looked at Kira, who had wrapped her tiny hand around his finger, even in sleep. I need time to think about this, he said finally. Of course. But Ryan, I need. You two know something. Zara's voice was gentle, but serious. My people are looking for me. Some want to bring me home safely, but others... Others might try to take Kira away. I need to know that you'll protect her no matter what happens. I will, Ryan said immediately. I promise you that. Zara smiled, and for the first time since he'd met her, she looked truly hopeful. Then maybe we have a chance after all. As Ryan prepared to leave that evening, he couldn't stop thinking about everything Zara had told him. A queen from another world wanted him to be her husband and curler. It sounded impossible, but as he looked back at Kira, sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms, he realized that impossible things were becoming his new reality. Outside, the stars seemed brighter than usual, and Ryan wondered if somewhere among them, people were looking back at Earth, waiting to see what choice one simple doctor would make. 2 months had passed since Zara's shocking revelation, and Ryan's world had become something he never could have imagined. Every day brought new wonders and new challenges as he spent more time with the alien queen and her remarkable daughter. This Zara said one morning as they sat in the facility's garden area. She had convinced the officials to give them outdoor time, claiming that fresh air was essential for Kira's development. Ryan watched as 6-month-old Kira reached toward a wilted flower. As her tiny fingers got closer, the flower began to straighten up, its petals brightening with color and life. The baby giggled with delight, clapping her hands together. She's healing it, Ryan said in amazement. How is that possible? Stellarian children are naturally connected to all living things, Zara explained. But Kira's human side gives her something extra, the ability to feel what others feel and respond to their needs. It's why she responds so well to you.
Ryan
Picked up Kira, who immediately snuggled into his arms. Over the past weeks, she had become completely attached to him. She would cry when he left and light up with joy when he returned. It was unlike any bond he'd ever experienced with a patient. She sees you as her father, Zara said softly, watching them together. In Stellarian culture, the person who provides emotional security becomes the true parent, regardless of biology. The thought made Ryan's heart race. Zara, I've been thinking. About what you asked me? About being your partner and helping you rule? And I want to say yes, but I'm scared. I don't know if I'm good enough for something so important. Zara moved closer to him on the bench. Do you know what convinced me you were the right person? It wasn't your medical skills or your way with children. It was the first day we met, when you held Kira and she stopped crying. You didn't ask questions about what she was or where she came from. You just saw a baby who needed comfort, and you gave it to her. As if responding to her mother's words, Kira reached up and touched Ryan's face. When she did, he felt a warm sensation and suddenly understood exactly what she was feeling. Pure love and trust. She's sharing her emotions with me, Ryan whispered. She's never done that with anyone else, Zara said. Not even me. You're becoming part of her soul, Ryan, and mine too. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by Colonel Davis, approaching with a worried expression. We need to discuss something important. They followed her back inside to a secure meeting room where several officials were waiting. Ryan recognized some faces from the Pentagon and others from various government agencies. Dr. Mitchell, a stern-looking man in a suit, began. We've been monitoring your progress with the subjects. We're impressed with your ability to manage the child's abilities. Subjects? Ryan felt anger rising. They're not subjects. They're people. People who possess technology and abilities that could change the balance of power on Earth, the man continued. We need you to help us understand how to replicate these abilities. Replicate them. The child's healing powers, the woman's advanced knowledge, these could solve many problems. Medical breakthroughs, energy solutions, even defensive capabilities. Ryan stood up, still holding Kira. Absolutely not. I won't let you turn them into weapons or experiments. Dr. Mitchell, you need to understand the bigger picture here. If these abilities exist, other nations will eventually discover them too. We need to study them for national security. What you need to understand, Ryan said firmly, is that Kira is a baby who needs love and stability, not laboratory tests. And Zara is a queen from an advanced civilization who came here seeking safety, not exploitation. The officials exchanged glances. Doctor, we're not asking you to harm them. We just need information. The answer is no. After the meeting, Ryan found Zara waiting anxiously in their usual room. What did they want? She asked. They want to use you and Kira. They wanted to study your abilities and turn them into weapons. Zara's face grew pale. I was afraid this would happen. My people warned me about human governments and their desire for power. I won't let them hurt you, Ryan said. Either of you, Ryan. There's something else you need to know. My people are coming, your people? I've been sending signals to our homeworld. Help is on the way, but I don't know if they'll arrive in time. In time for what? Zara walked to the window and pointed to the sky. My brother's forces are also coming. They've been tracking us, and they're much closer than my allies. If they get here first, ... what will they do? They'll try to take Kira back to our world and eliminate any humans who know about us. They see contact between our species as contamination.
Oh, I know.
Ryan felt his blood run cold. How long do we have? Days, maybe. Less that night, Ryan barely slept. He kept thinking about Zara's words and the government officials' demands. The next morning, he arrived at the facility to find increased security and new faces everywhere.
Dr. Mitchell.
Colonel Davis approached him. We have a situation. Our satellite imaging has detected unusual activity in the upper atmosphere. Multiple objects approaching Earth at incredible speeds. Ryan hurried to find Zara, who was teaching Kira to control her abilities. The baby was now able to make small objects float in the air, always under her mother's gentle guidance. "They're here," Zara said without looking up. "I can feel them. Your people, or your brothers?" "Both. The question is, who will reach us first?" As if on cue, all the electronic equipment in the facility began to malfunction. Lights flickered, computers crashed, and alarms started blaring throughout the building. "It's starting," Zara said, standing up and holding Kira close. "Ryan, whatever happens, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If my brother's forces get here first, take Kira and run. Don't let them separate you two. What about you?" "A queen. I have to face whatever comes, but Kira. She's just a baby. She needs someone who will protect her above all else." Ryan took Kira from Zara's arms, and the baby immediately calmed down despite the chaos around them. "I promise," he said. "But I'm not leaving you behind. You may not have a choice." Outside, the sky began to glow with an otherworldly light. Ships were descending through the clouds, and Ryan realized that his quiet life as a small-town doctor was about to become something much more dangerous. "Whatever happens," Zara said, taking his hand, "know that you've given us both something precious. Hope for a future where our worlds can coexist." As the first alien ships touched down outside the facility, Ryan held Kira tighter and prepared for whatever was coming next. The ground shook as the alien ships landed outside the facility. Ryan held Kira close to his chest while Zara stood beside him, her face a mixture of hope and fear. Through the reinforced windows, they could see massive silver vessels settling onto the mountainside like graceful birds. "How do we know which ones are friendly?" Ryan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The shapes are different," Zara explained, pointing to the ships. "Those three with the curved designs are from the Royal Guard. Commander Thane has found us. But that one." She pointed to a darker, more angular ship. "It belongs to my brother." Colonel Davis burst into the room with several armed soldiers. "We're moving you to a secure location immediately. This facility is no longer safe." "No," Zara said firmly. "Running will only make things worse. My brother expects me to hide. If I face him with dignity, there's a chance for peaceful resolution. Ma'am, with respect, we can't risk your safety or the child's." Ryan looked at Kira, who was unusually quiet in his arms. Her big eyes seemed to understand that something important was happening. "What do you want to do, Zara?" "I want to end this properly. And people need to see that humans and Stellarians can work together, not against each other." Before anyone could respond, the facility's main doors opened with a sound like thunder. A group of tall, glowing beings entered, their movements graceful and purposeful. At their head walked a figure that looked like Zara, but with harder features and golden eyes that seemed to burn with anger. "Sister," the figure said in a voice that echoed through the hallway, "you have caused quite a disturbance." "Prince Vex," Zara replied, stepping forward. "I didn't expect you to come personally. When the Queen of Stellaria disappears with a half-breed child, it becomes a personal matter." His golden eyes fixed on Ryan and Kira. "And this must be the human who has corrupted your judgment." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine, but he stood straighter. "I'm Dr. Ryan Mitchell. I've been helping care for her." Prince Vex laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You've been poisoning her with human emotions. Look at her. She's barely recognizable as one of our people. She's healthier and happier than she's ever been," Ryan said, surprised by his own boldness. "Happiness is not the goal. Power is. Discipline is. This child could have been a weapon for our empire, but instead, she's been turned into a weak, emotional creature." "She's not a weapon," Ryan said firmly. "She's a child." At that moment, Commander Thane and several royal guards entered from another direction. Unlike Prince Vex's followers, these beings radiated calm rather than aggression. "My queen, Commander," Thane said, bowing to Zara. "We came as soon as we received your signal." "Thane, thank goodness." "Is the council with you?" "Yes, Your Majesty. They're eager to hear your proposal for alliance with Earth." Prince Vex's expression grew darker. "Alliance, sister? Have you completely lost your mind? These primitive creatures are barely capable of governing their own planet." These primitive creatures, Zara said, showed compassion to a stranger and her child. They offered safety when we needed it most. Dr. Mitchell here has done more for Kira's development in 3 months than our finest teachers accomplished in years. Sentiment, Prince Vex spat. You're thinking like a human now instead of a queen. Maybe that's exactly what we need, Zara replied. Maybe combining human heart with Stellarian wisdom is the key to our future. The tension in the room was so thick Ryan could almost feel it. Kira began to squirm in his arms, her small hands glowing slightly as she responded to the emotional energy around her. Look at her, Prince Vex said. She's already losing control. Human emotions make her unstable. She's not losing control, Ryan said. She's responding to the fear and anger in this room. Watch. Ryan began to hum the same lullaby he'd used. Months ago, when he first held Kira, almost immediately the baby's glow softened, and she relaxed in his arms. But something unexpected happened. The soft melody seemed to fill the entire room, and everyone present began to feel calmer.
Ow.
Did you do that? Commander Thane asked in amazement. Just gave her what she needed, love and security. When she feels safe, she makes everyone around her feel safe too. Impossible, Prince Vex said, but his voice was less harsh than before. It's not impossible, Zara said.
Ah!
It's what happens when you combine the best of both worlds. Kira has Stellarian power and human compassion. She doesn't just feel emotions. She can share peace and healing with others. To prove her point, Zara nodded to Ryan. He gently placed his hand on Kira's forehead and thought about how much he loved her and her mother. The baby's response was immediate. A warm, golden light emanated from her small body, and everyone in the room suddenly felt a wave of pure, unconditional love. Prince Vex stepped backward, his hard expression softening for just a moment. What was that? That was your niece sharing her heart with you, Zara said quietly. She doesn't see enemies or allies. She just sees people who need love. Commander Thane was the first to speak after the demonstration, my queen. If the child can do this now, imagine what she might accomplish when she's older. She could bring peace to conflicts we've been fighting for generations. Or she could make our warriors weak, Prince Vex countered, but his voice lacked its earlier conviction. Peace isn't weakness, Ryan said. It's the hardest thing in the universe to achieve, but it's also the most powerful. Your sister isn't weak for loving her daughter or for wanting to protect her. She's the strongest person I've ever met. You would say that, Prince Vex replied. You're in love with her. Yes, I am, Ryan said without hesitation. I love Zara, and I love Kira. I love them enough to stand up to kings and princes and anyone else who wants to hurt them. The room fell silent. Even the human soldiers seemed surprised by Ryan's declaration. And what would you do to protect them? Prince Vex asked. Whatever it takes, including accepting Zara's proposal to help her rule, if that's what keeps them safe. You would leave your world to live among strangers. I would go anywhere with them. They're my family now. Prince Vex looked at his sister, then at Ryan, then at little Kira, who was now sleeping peacefully in Ryan's arms. You're serious about this alliance? Completely, Zara said. The universe is changing, brother. We can change with it, or we can be left behind. The council will need to vote, Commander Thane said. But after what we've seen here today, believe they'll be interested in hearing more. Prince Vex was quiet for a long moment. If this fails, if humans prove to be as destructive as I believe, the consequences will be severe. If it succeeds, Zara replied, we'll have created something beautiful, a future where our children can grow up in peace. Ryan looked down at Kira, who was smiling in her sleep. Whatever decision the aliens made, he knew one thing for certain. He would never let anything happen to his new family. 6 months later, Ryan stood in front of a mirror in what had once been an impossible dream. He was wearing ceremonial robes that shimmered like starlight, preparing for a wedding that would unite not just to hearts, but to entire worlds. Are you nervous? Zara asked, entering the room with Kira in her arms. The baby had grown so much in the past months, and her abilities had become more controlled under Ryan's gentle guidance. Terrified, Ryan admitted with a smile. Yesterday, I was a small-town doctor. Today, I'm about to become a prince of an interstellar empire. You've always been a prince, Zara said, moving closer to him. You just didn't know it yet. The negotiations following that tense day at the facility had been long and complicated. Prince Vex had eventually agreed to support the alliance, but only after seeing more demonstrations of Kira's unique abilities. The baby could now calm entire rooms full of people, heal small injuries with her touch, and most importantly, help others understand each other's feelings. Dada, Kira babbled, reaching for Ryan. It was one of her first words, and it made his heart swell every time he heard it. Yes, sweetheart, Ryan said, taking her into his arms. Today officially makes me your daddy. The wedding ceremony was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Representatives from both worlds gathered in a specially constructed venue that was half human architecture, half Stellarian technology. The building itself seemed to glow with an inner light, and flowers from both planets created a garden that looked like something from a fairy tale. Ryan's family had taken months to accept the reality of his new life. His parents had flown in from Ohio, still looking bewildered by everything they'd learned. His mother kept staring at Zara's gentle glow and asking quiet questions about grandchildren. I still can't believe this is real, his father whispered. As they walked toward the altar together, my son marrying an alien queen? She's not just an alien, Dad. She's the most amazing woman I've ever met. I can see that, his father said. The way she looks at you, the way that little girl lights up when she sees you. You've found something special, son. The ceremony began with Stellarian traditions that filled the air with beautiful, harmonious sounds. Then came human vows that brought tears to many eyes. When Ryan spoke his promises to Zara, he meant every word. And I promise to love you across any distance, through any challenge, and beyond any difference between our worlds. I promise to be the father Kira needs and the partner you deserve. I promise to help build a future where love matters more than fear. Zara's vows were equally moving. I promise to share my world with you as you've shared yours with me. I promise to learn from your human heart while teaching you the wisdom of the stars. I promise to rule beside you with compassion and understanding. When they kissed, little Kira clapped her hands and giggled, sending waves of joy through everyone present. Even the most skeptical government officials and the sternest Stellarian council members found themselves smiling. The celebration that followed was magnificent. Humans and Stellarians danced together under lights that seemed to come from within the very air. Children from both species played games that required no common language, just laughter and friendship. Look at them, Commander Thane said to Prince Vex as they watched the festivities. Perhaps your sister was right about the potential for unity. Perhaps, Prince Vex admitted. The human has proven more capable than I expected, and the child. He watched as Kira played with both human and Stellarian children, naturally bringing them together in harmony. She may indeed be the bridge we need. As the evening progressed, Ryan found himself in conversations he'd never imagined having. He discussed education policy with Stellarian scholars, medical advances with alien healers, and parenting techniques with beings from across the galaxy. The most important thing he told a group of Stellarian parents is to listen to what children need, not what we think they should want. Kira taught me that. When I stopped trying to fix her and started trying to understand her, everything changed. Later that night, after most of the guests had departed, Ryan and Zara sat in their new quarters aboard the Stellarian flagship. Through the window, they could see Earth slowly rotating below them, beautiful and blue in the starlight. Do you ever regret it? Zara asked quietly. Leaving your old life behind? Never, Ryan said without hesitation. That old life was just preparing me for this one. Kira was sleeping between them, her small body glowing softly in the darkness. In the months since the wedding, she had become a symbol of hope for both species. Born and parents from both worlds sought Ryan's advice on raising them. I have something to tell you, Zara said, placing her hand on her stomach. Ryan's eyes widened. Are you? Yes, our own child is growing. A brother or sister for Kira. Ryan felt tears of joy filling his eyes. When, in about 7 of your months, are you ready to be a father again? With you? I'm ready for anything." As if sensing the excitement, Kira stirred in her sleep and smiled. Her dreams were probably filled with the same hope that filled Ryan's heart, a future where love conquered fear, where differences became strengths, and where families could be built across the stars. The next morning brought news that made their joy complete. The Joint Council of Earth and Stellaria had voted unanimously to establish the first permanent alliance between their worlds. Ryan would serve as Earth's ambassador to the Stellarian Empire, while Zara would represent her people in negotiations. "With human governments, we're really going to do this," Ryan said as they prepared for their first official meeting as co-rulers. "We're going to change everything," Zara agreed. 5 years later, Ryan often reflected on how his life had transformed from that first moment when he held a crying alien baby. Now he spent his days traveling between worlds, establishing schools for hybrid children, helping other families navigate the challenges of interspecies relationships. Kira had grown into a remarkable young girl who spoke 3 languages, could heal both physical and emotional wounds, and had an uncanny ability to help people understand each other. Her little brother Alex was showing similar gifts, though his were more focused on bringing peace to conflicts. "Daddy," Kira said one evening as they watched the sunset from their home on Stellaria Prime, "why do some people still think humans and Stellarians shouldn't be friends?" "Because they're afraid of what's different," Ryan explained. "But you know what I've learned? The things that make us different are also the things that make us stronger when we work together. Like how mommy's logic helps when you get too emotional." Kira asked with a grin. "Exactly like that," Ryan laughed. "And how my emotions help when mommy gets too logical." As the stars began to appear in the alien sky, Ryan held his daughter close and marveled at the journey that had brought them here. Sometimes the most extraordinary adventures begin with the simplest act of caring for someone who needs help. And sometimes, when you open your heart to the impossible, you discover that love really can move mountains, cross galaxies, and build bridges between worlds.